أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا بعد. We took a few of the fundamentals. The first one, an-niyatu, intention, is actions are by intention. Second one, bringing benefit and preventing harm. Third one, hardship brings about ease. And each one of them, we have branched out of it. Today's branches are so many, and I gave so many examples because we have. They say today's fundamental or the qaida, it is 1/3 of every chapter. It's 1/3 of the. It's 1/3 of the deen, of the ahkam, and it gets involved in every single chapter of fiqh. Okay, so that's why it's very important. So I wish, inshallah, you pay attention to it. And today is going to be more of a question and answer. So be ready to answer, please, some of these questions and pay attention to them. And the more we repeat things, the more that becomes very clear, inshallah. So the Shaykh said, وَتَرْجِعُ الْأَحْكَامُ لِلْيَقِينِ فَلَا يُزِيلُ الشَّكَّ لِلْيَقِينِ. تمام؟ وترجع الأحكام لليقين فلا يزيل الشك لليقين. So he said here principle number, should be number 4. Line 18 should be number 4, and in the main principles. Certainty is not removed by doubt. And this carries on line 18, okay, line 19, and I believe line up to line what? I just don't have the full poetry now in my hand. Huh? قال والأصل في مياهنا الطهارة والأرض والثياب والحجارة. Concerning water, the principle is that it's pure as well as the earth, the clothing, and stones. Remember these 4 things. والأصل في الأبضاع واللحوم والنفس والأموال للمعصوم تحريمها حتى يجيء الحل فافهم هداك الله ما يمل والأصل في عاداتنا الإباحة حتى يجيء صارف الإباحة وليس مشروع. Up to 23. So I'm just gonna go the first few ones because that's the ones we need right now. So what is today's principle? Today's principle is number 7 in your paper, in your little PDF, number 7. It says, certainty is not removed by doubts. Line number 19 says, وَالْأَصْلُ. Al-aslu means the base ruling or the default. So we have to understand what is the default because we're going to be building on it all our answers. So the default in water, concerning water, that water is what? Pure. That's the default. Keep that in your mind, in the back of your mind. When you're applying this qaida today, you have to keep in the back of your mind a lot of defaults. The base. So the base of when it comes to the water, that water is pure. Okay? 2, the earth is clean, pure. That's the default. Okay, 3, clothing is pure. Okay, hijara, rocks, pure. These are the ones we need for today. I don't think we'll catch, maybe we'll catch line 20 or so, but let's talk about line 17 first. قال وترجع الأحكام لليقين. Now, the ruling, we return back the rulings to certainty. Okay? And that certainty is not removed by doubt. So we have few things that we want to understand today. Number 1, what is certainty? What could we call certainty? Yalla, bismillah, give me an answer. No right or wrong answer today. Today is all right, inshallah. Huh? Huh? La, that's example. What's the meaning of certainty? You cannot use the opposite when it comes to definition. Certainty, al-yaqeen, هو ما استقر في القلب واطمأن القلب به. What settle in the heart and the heart feels assured about. Okay? Now, Ahmed. لا, not Ahmed. I don't know a lot of Ahmed. Justin. حتى Justin. ماشي Justin. If I ask him today, where's Noor? Justin know that he left her where? His daughter? At home. Okay? He's certain that she's home? No. He's gonna say, I left her home, so I'm about 70% certain, but she might have left to her uncle's house. Okay? So that's not certainty. Yaqeen is that you have something in your heart that you are sure about 100%, no doubt. So what is this? A phone. Am I certain that this is a phone? Khalas. If somebody comes and says, no, this is a rock, it's not going to move anything in my heart. My heart is saying what? No way, this is a phone. Is that clear? So certainty, هو مطمئن له الإيش؟ القلب. Your heart is certain about, your heart is assured that this thing is correct. Okay? طيب. Now, the opposite will be what? Doubt. But we have three words in Arabic that are a little hard to explain. We have shak, we have dhann, we have wahm. And we have to understand these three. Okay? Wahm, let's go by the least. Okay? Wahm is a false thought that no way it could be true. Huh? Delusion. Okay? Now we move up a little higher. Shak. Dhann. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول إن يتبعون إلا الظن. So we need to understand the difference between both, between dhann and shak. قال العلماء الظن هو تجويز أمرين أحدهما أقوى من الآخر. Dhann is having a doubt between two things that one you are more convinced, or you have a stronger doubt of one over the other. They call that in Arabic dhann. Okay? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He forbid upon us to do what? To have dhann of someone. Okay, we always have a benefit of doubt of someone. Yes? So this person right here, when I see him, should I think of him as a bad person or as a good person? Huh? What comes first is what? That he's a good person unless he proves otherwise. Is that clear? So we call that what? Dhann. We don't call it doubt. We call it dhann, because doubt by itself, not benefit of doubt. We call it dhann. Why? Because we are choosing one strongly over the other. But now somebody has shak. What is shak? A shak is that you have doubt between two things to choose from and they're both equal out. So you don't have a preference over another. So I doubt that I locked my car or not. Okay, that's a doubt. I can't remember which one. Did I close the door or not? Did I make wudu or not? Okay, I just can't remember. Okay, so dhann is a little higher. Okay, so dhann is a little higher because you have both things that you're not sure about, but you have what? You're kind of sure about one over the other, maybe a little higher. Is that clear now? طيب. That's why we have ghalib al-dhann when we come to the benefit. Okay, so what does the rule says? The rule says that certainty cannot be removed. Certainty is not removed by doubt. Uncertainty. Okay, you could use that. To dhann. Yes. So that's why we call it benefit of doubt. Husn al-dhann. It could be the word doubt, so maybe more certainty, uncertainty.
It's like when I say, like, I
صح. So uncertainty would be a better answer. But if we use one of the other, you know which one we're talking about today. We're talking about the level of shak today, which is uncertain about something, not the doubt of that you have a choice in one thing. Okay? طيب. ماشي. So, what does this قاعدة mean? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال وما يتبع أكثرهم إلا ظن إن الظن لا يغني من الحق شيئا. الحق واليقين. He says that most of them, they follow doubts or they're uncertain about what they follow, and these doubts, okay, would not remove what? Certainty, which is the truth. What is the truth? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala should be the one worshipped, not anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam that supports this qaida, hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, okay? And I'm going to get you guys right now a lot of activities today, because today is more activities because I want to do the branches today are very important, more important to understand branches and apply it than the qaida itself. The Prophet ﷺ, a man, Abdullah ibn Zayd, he said, a man came to the Prophet ﷺ complaining that he feels something in salah. Means he feels something in his stomach. Okay? So he said, لا ينفلت أو لا ينصرف, he should not leave salah حتى يسمع صوتا, till he hears a sound, أو يجد ريحا, or he smells something. So this person in salah is what? Doubting. Okay? He's uncertain. Did he release air or not? Okay? Did he break his wudu or not? Maybe his stomach is making sounds. Okay? But he doesn't know, are these sounds breaking his wudu or not? The Prophet ﷺ said he should not leave salah till one of the two happen. What happens here? That he is what now? Till he's certain. Okay? Of what? So he goes back to the default. We'll talk about that in a second because we need that for sure. Okay? So Imam al-Nawawi said, هذا الحديث أصل من أصول الدين. He said this hadith is one of the fundamental in the deen and one of the great, maxim to use, because we keep things based upon the original or based upon the default. And we're going to learn that in seconds, inshallah. The Prophet ﷺ also in hadith narrated by Muslim, he said, إِذَا شَكَّ, if one doubts or is uncertain in his salah, he doesn't know if he prayed 3 or 4, فَلْيَطْرَحِ الشَّكِّ, he should remove doubt or leave doubt on the side. وَلْيَبْنِ عَلَى مَسْتَيْقًا, and he should build upon what he's certain. Now, that's a problem. We're going to get to that in a second. And then he makes 2 sajda before salam. If he prayed 5, then شَفَعْنَ لَهُ صَلَاةً, and there will be intercession for him, or they will add on to odd number for him. وَإِنْ كَانَ صَلَّى, and if he prayed 4, okay? He doesn't know he prayed 3 or 4. So he does what? He knows what he's certain. If he thinks it's 3 and he did 4, so he did how many? 5. Today you need coffee. Today everybody needs coffee. Yeah, today is very hard. I'm going to give you like maybe 40 examples. Seriously, the furu' is a lot in every chapter. I'm going to try to cover every chapter. I don't want to move on from this because this qaida is a life-changing. It helps you with everything. You don't need to study all fiqh to get it. You could get all fiqh with this qaida easily, inshallah. So he said, and if he prayed only 4, so he built upon what? 3. Okay? Then كانتا ترغيما للشيطان. It is to defeat the shaitan. All right? So here we'll leave that on the side. We'll leave that on the side. طيب, Bismillah. Let's take furu'. Let's take some branches. Everybody's ready? Yes? Okay. So before we take the branches, I want to give you a few things. Okay? I want to give you a few fundamental that you're going to remember when we talk about it, and keep that in your mind. First fundamental that you're going to be using. قال العمريطي رحمه الله من ذلك الأصل كما استبان بقاء ما كان على ما كان. The first fundamental is that you keep the default as it was or as it is. Remember that. You keep the default as what? As it is. من ذلك الأصل كما استبان بقاء ما كان على ما كان. You keep the default or the original based upon what it is. So remember that. Keep that in your mind. Number two, you keep the base as it is till you have evidence to move it to some other ruling. I know it might not make any sense right now. I know, it's okay. يعني مثلا if somebody tells you stand up. Now, a command verb is what? Obligatory or recommendation? Obligatory. So we're going to keep it as what? Every command verb, we're going to keep it as what? No, sisters, you need to wake up too. Not only brother. You were more awake yesterday. We're going to keep it as it is. So we're going to say this verb or this hadith means that the action is obligatory unless we have evidence to move it to recommended action. Okay? Rasulullah said, pray before Maghrib, pray before Maghrib, pray before Maghrib. So praying before Maghrib is what? Obligatory. Then he said, if you want. Now, if we didn't have the if you want, we would keep it as the default. This is the meaning of the qaida. Okay? يعني مثلا we could use it, of course I don't want to jump ahead, but we could use it مثلا in the halal and the haram. Women are not supposed to wear any color other than black. What should your response be? False. Huh?
Well, the default is that they wear whatever color they want.
Okay.
So you need to show why.
100% perfect. The brother he did it very nicely. He said, okay, Jazakallah khair, but the default is that they could wear whatever you want or whatever they want. Okay, so if you claim that, I am going to keep the default. I don't have evidence that you're right or wrong. So you need to bring me evidence that the default have changed. So if the person doesn't bring evidence, you're going to keep what? The default. Very simple. You don't know evidence, you don't have hadith, you don't have, but you're very strong. You are more stronger in evidence than the person because he's claiming. And you're going with what? Default. I'm sticking to the default. That the default says, Zinatul Mar'a, the beauty of a woman, should be covered in a certain way. But color-wise, nothing. So the default says whatever color they like to wear, they could wear. If you claim that black is a must, now you have to move the default with the proof, or else you have to keep it as it is. Helped? It helped someone without knowing what? Without knowing any evidence. Is that clear? طيب. When it comes to the najasat, are the same way. We're going to use it a lot. So let's take the furu'. Let's take the branches, inshallah, that we need. Number one. No, branch number one. Huh? No, that's for men. Pure, yeah. Yeah, pure red with no strips or anything. That's disliked for men. Dislike to wear. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم نهى أن يلبس الرجل الثوب الأحمر, red, like bright red, full red, blood red, that has no strips, just pure red. إنه لون الدم أو شيء الله. طيب, so Bismillah. Let's start. Okay, let's talk about this hadith first. A man who finds something in his stomach, and Rasulullah said to him, do not leave salah till you hear something, okay, or you smell something. What is the default here? Huh? The default is al-yaqeen. What is he certain about? He's certain about tahara. So for him to remove certainty of tahara, you have to be certain about impurity, al-hadath. So if you're going to remove the certainty of tahara with a doubt or uncertainty, you cannot do that. It doesn't remove so this person stays with his tahara. Okay? So let's take furu'. Let's take some branches, inshallah. The first fara' we're going to discuss today. Bismillah. Are you guys ready? I'm sorry for people online. I can't show you the furu' because I don't have them. I'm just going to make them up right now. I wish I wrote them to change, but it's point. Number one. من ثبت إسلامه لا يخرج من دائرة الإسلام إلى الكفر إلا بيقين. Whoever's Islam is certain, or he entered Islam with certainty, no one has the right to remove him out of the circle of Islam unless you have what? Certainty. So no doubting in what? In the kufr of someone. That's why we start with it. This is the most important. Someone who says, La ilaha illallah. They are Muslim. This person, if he did something, that thing that he did, before you claim that it got him out of Islam, you have to be what? Certain about it. حتى لو أتى ببدعة مكفرة. Even if the person commits an innovation that gets him out of the circle of Islam, because the bid'ah are two, innovations are two types. There's innovation that you're still a Muslim, and innovation that gets you out of the circle of Islam. Okay? But even with that, you have to make sure two things happen. You have to have ثبوت الشروط وانتفاء الموانع. I know some of you guys studied this with me, some didn't. We have to have conditions and prevention. Conditions and what? Prevention. So you have to affirm the conditions and you have to make sure there is no prevention. So for example, what could be a prevention for a person not to pray? Huh? They could make wudu. They could do tayammum. Unconsciousness. Ministration forever. So if a woman says, I am not going to pray, somebody who says, Astaghfirullah, you're kafir. Huh? But you could change it. No, I'm talking, she has all the conditions apply. She's a Muslim, she's a female, she's mature, she's sane, she's resident, she's healthy, she has nice clothes on, she has everything. So the conditions met? Yes, she has all the conditions. But there is a prevention. So for actions, we have to have two things. We have to have something called what? Conditions and no prevention. Both have to exist. So sometimes there is no prevention, but the conditions don't meet. Like a child who's under the age of maturity. Okay, you understand that? So anyway, our talk is not fiqh today. We're not going to talk usul today. So if someone calls someone kafir, the first problem is what? You have no certainty. I am certain that he's a Muslim because he said, La ilaha illallah. Now, when you're saying he's kafir, are you certain or you're doubting? You're doubting. Because to get to the level of certainty, calling someone kafir, you need to take it to a higher authority. The judge has to sit there, talk to him, advise him. Maybe he's saying something that is kufr, but out of ignorance or out of wrong interpretation. The Sahaba said to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya Rasulullah, ij'al lana dhata anwatin kama lahum dhatu anwat. You know, they had a tree where they hang their swords on, okay? And they believe that when they hang their swords on this tree, it is more blessing. So the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, why don't we have a tree like they have a tree? What did Rasulullah respond? He said what? قال قلتم كما قالت اليهود لموسى اجعل لنا إلها كما لهم آلهة. He said, you said what the Jews have said to Musa, why don't we have gods like they have gods? Now, the statement of those people to Musa was what? Huh? Kufr. Are you guys doubting that? When they said to Musa, we don't want just one God. We cannot have, it doesn't make sense. We want gods. Their statement to Musa is what? Kufr. Rasulullah said to the companions, you said like what they said. So if I am there and I have no knowledge, I would say that the companions are what? There you go. Is that right? No. So understand that even if the conditions are clear, why? Because certainty cannot be removed by doubt. So remember that. We're going to repeat that 20 million times today. Okay? Seriously. طيب. Now, purity and impurity comes to طهارة. الطهارة والحدث نبني على الأصل. Impurity or purity, we look for what we remember as certainty. If I have wudu, that's certainty. If I doubt that I broke my wudu or not, what should I do? Huh? What am I certain about? I have wudu, but I don't remember if I used the bathroom. That happens to you guys on campus for sure. You left your house with wudu, okay? You went on all the way to Dhuhr. Dhuhr time comes and you're like, okay, I don't remember if I actually used the bathroom. Now, what do you recall? What is your lost call? That you had wudu when you left the house. What you're doubting? Huh? That you broke the wudu. So what are you going to do now? Forget prayers right now. What are you going to do now? I am certain of my wudu, so I'm going to say what? I have wudu. طيب. Now, at dhuhr time, the last thing you remember is that you used the bathroom, but you don't remember if you made wudu or not. You usually do, but you're on campus, you might forget. But you do remember for sure you used the bathroom. Now, what are you certain about? You used the bathroom. You don't remember you made wudu. So what should you do? Huh? You make wudu. Yes? طيب. You remember you made wudu and then you used the bathroom. You used the bathroom, you made wudu, but both at the same time, but you don't remember which one came first. Now what are you going to do? No, that's not fiqh. Don't answer today, make wudu. No. We want to use the fundamental. Both are equal out. I don't remember which one is first. I remember for sure I made wudu, and I remember for sure I used the bathroom. Both I remember for sure. I'm certain about both. But I don't remember which one I did first. Huh? I'm not doubting, I'm certain about both. Remember, I have wudu, I'm doubting bathroom. So khalas, I'm going with wudu. I remember I used the bathroom, I'm certain, but I don't remember if I made wudu, that's doubt. But now I am certain about both. I just don't know which one came first. What should I do? For the people who are online too, Bismillah, if you got, Bismillah. What should we do? What's the default? Huh? La, the default is not tahir if I remember I woke up but I don't remember if I made wudu. But now I know I made wudu. I'm certain of my wudu. And I'm certain I used the bathroom, but I just can't remember which one came first. So if you remember that you woke up from your sleep, you left the house. Oh, I don't remember if I made wudu or not. What's the default? You make wudu because the default here is what? You woke up, you're not tahir. That's correct, I agree. But now I remember, I'm certain about both. But I just don't know which one came first. Huh?
Well, it doesn't make sense that you use wudu and then use the rest.
Why not? Who does that? Human beings. That's my answer. Like, who does that? You use you make wudu. Never happened. You take a shower, you make wudu. While you're leaving the bathroom, you use the bathroom. Nobody does that? You're not humans. Aliens does that. I don't know. The answer is, you go back to what you remember before the two. So the loss you remember before the two was that you had wudu, then you used the bathroom and made wudu, or made the bathroom and used wudu, whatever that came first. These two, you're going to forget both of them now. خلاص? You go back to before them. What I recall, lastly, that I made wudu. Then I went to campus, I used the bathroom, I made wudu, I made the bathroom, whatever came first. But what I recall is what? When I left, I had wudu, so I'm going to go with that. يرجع إلى ما كان قبله. Understand that? I know today is very interesting, but it's good. We're going to go on with it, inshallah. طيب. I have water. You have what? Water. You don't know this water pure or impure. What's the default? The water, الماء طهور لا ينجسه شيء. Sayyidina Ammar radiallahu anhu walked with the Prophet ﷺ as it was narrated, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, he found someone pouring water outside of his house. So, Umar al-Khattab was very curious and anxious, and so he went to knock on the door, and he said to the man, he said to him, what kind of water that is? قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, don't tell him. إنما هذا تنطع. Okay, you're over exaggerating now. You're doing too much. What did Rasulullah want to teach Umar al-Khattab and us? You go with the default. The water came on your clothes. You're walking in the streets here, you're crossing the street here, it's raining or something, or no rain. A car came by, splashed you with water. Can you pray with this cloth? What do you mean, inshallah? Come on, man. Yes, because what the default, the certainty cannot be removed by doubt. What are you doubting? You're certain that the water is clean, but you're doubting, it's impure. Now, you're sitting down in a park. The grass is a little wet. Now, the grass is wet. You don't know that the wetness of the grass came because of those, what do you call them, sprinklers, or a dog, an impolite dog. He did it in public. Yeah. So they feel their dogs are so important. What are you going to go with? The grass is pure or impure? Impure? Why? Because I'm certain that the grass is pure. I am doubting the impurity. So I'm going to go with what? With what I'm certain about. ما فيش حاجة اسمها special in this country. No. See, هذا هو التنطع اللي النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال لا تخبروا فإن ذلك من التنطع. صحيح. Now, if you saw a dog there, or dogs there, then yes, your doubt now moves to a dhann, غلبة الظن. That's a different story. But if you're in an open place in a park, no dogs, but you're going to assume that there are dogs that came in today. See, you're making it hard on yourself. The default is what? Pure. Same thing with water. If the water, the taste, the smell, the color don't change, then you're going to assume what fall in it is what? Is pure. Okay? Understand that? طيب. Yesterday we spoke about mud. Mud being in your shoes. What's going to happen? Mud in your shoes. Can you pray with your shoes? What's the default? Mud is pure unless proven otherwise. So I'm going to say what? Certainty. I need you to memorize this fundamental. Certainty is not removed by doubts. Okay? طيب. Come to Siyam. Bismillah. Let's move to Siyam. We are in the last day of Sha'ban, the 29th of Sha'ban. We could not see the crescent. Now, what are we certain about? That today is what? The 29th. Yes? Okay? And the crescent cannot be seen. There might be cloud, no problem. But what are we certain about? That tomorrow is 30th of Sha'ban or 1st of Ramadan? 30th of Ramadan? Good morning. We are in the 29th of Sha'ban. So we're certain that we are in the 29th. We couldn't see the crescent We can see the cloud or no cloud. So tomorrow, should we fast or not? Why not? It's actually called the day of what? Doubt. Why do they call it the day of doubt? Because I am certain that if I don't see the crescent, Sha'ban is completed as 30 days. So I'm certain of that. What am I doubting? That Ramadan is tomorrow. So what should I go with? Certainty that today is the day of 30th of Sha'ban. Okay? طيب, pay attention to this one. Pay attention to this one. Two people. 1-8 before Fajr, thinking it's still night. 1-8 before Maghrib, thinking that the sun set. The first one, 8 after Fajr, thinking it's still night. The second person, 8 before Maghrib, thinking it's that the sun set. What are the rules of the two? Okay, raise your hand. That'll be easier then. Raise your hand if you wanna. Yalla. First one is okay. You are correct, incorrect. وفتح الله لك. I'm going to make dua for you. But he didn't phrase it right. But he got some of the answer right. A sister wants to go? تفضل.
I think for the first one, the certainty is 9, so then he's fine.
Okay.
But for the past one, the certainty is like daylight. So
Okay, so she helped you out. You both said that correct. The first one, we will say his fast is correct. The second one, his fast is incorrect. But the reason here is important. He went with the default that one is not fasting, one is fasting. La. The default is not fasting or not fasting. The default is day and night. So what are we certain about at Fajr? That is night. And night, no fasting. So if he went after Fajr, thinking that it's still night, that he's certain of the night, no fasting, khalas, then his fast is accurate. Now the person before Maghrib, what is he certain of? Daytime. So if he doubts sunsets, he goes with what he's certain, which is daylight. So his fast is what? Incorrect. Is that clear? طيب. Bismillah. Khalas, but he did his best to try to fast on time, but he thought it was still night. No. Now with the phones and all that is a little hard to do. It's okay. It's okay. We're learning for. Let's take something a little more. Let's take the salah one again. Let's take one of the salah and then we move to a harder one. A person in his salah, Salatul Asr, in the last rak'ah, his last rak'ah, he's doubting, is he in the third or is he in the fourth rak'ah? What should he or she do and think before you answer? Because you're wrong. Astaghfirullah. I'm joking. Mashallah, you're all mashayikh now. I could quit Davis feeling secure that Davis is in the safe hands, inshallah. Go ahead.
So first you have to determine if they're more sure about the 3 or the 4.
Okay. So first one is غلبة الظن. غلبة الظن means that you have more toward one of the doubts. You have two doubts, but you're aiming more toward one. غلبة الظن. Like, what is your غلبة الظن here? You're more certain that you prayed 4. You're more certain. You're not sure. You're not certain, but you're more kind of, I'm not sure 3 or 4, but I am more certain toward the 4, more doubting the 3. So go with what? With the 4. هذا يسمى غلبة الإيش؟ الظن. طيب, if they both are equal out, what's the default rule to make it easy? Go with the lower number. Anything that has a number, go with the lower number. Why? Because the lower number is always going to be what? Certain. No, not safer. We need to use the qawa'id. Certainty. Okay? Now, I am not sure I prayed 3 or 4. So which one am I certain about? 3 for sure. I am doubting the 4th rak'ah. Khalas? So, tawaf. You're making tawaf. 1, 2, 3. How many times you have to go around Kaaba? 7. I'm not sure, am I in the 5th or 6th? So which one am I certain about now? I am certain of the 5th. I am doubting what? The 6th. So I'm going to go with that. It happens to us. Anybody who went to Umrah know that. It happens all the time. Wallahi, and the group, you ask them, you have 10 opinions. The sisters, they say we're in the 8th tawaf because they want to finish. Okay. The brothers are like, mashallah, I think we did 10, not even 7. You know, people who want to finish. And the brothers who are, mashallah, holding on to the deen and they're so happy. We're like, no, this is our first tawaf. Ittaqillah, man. You know what I mean? You don't listen to any of them. What should we follow? This qaida, this fundamental. Certainty is not removed by doubt. I am doubting. I'm in the 3rd or the 5th. I'm going to go with the 3rd because 3rd is what? Certain. 5th is doubt. So, case salah, tawaf, jamarat, anything that has a number, anything that has a number of count, you always go with the lower. Okay? Because the lower is always what? Certain. Type debt, مثلا debt. If you and someone did not write down how much you owe someone, what should you go with? Higher? You go with what he claims to be certain of. And because that's your fault. And he said 900? Go with the lead. Go with what he says, not what you think, what you doubt. If you want to pay him 1,000 out of taqwa, no problem. No problem. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. طيب. A man, he travel, or women, they travel and they do not know if they have reached the distance of shortening the salah. Should they shorten the salah or not? Oh my God. Wallah, I know you're mashayikh. I know. Khalas, I'm already witnessing for you. You guys are all mashayikh. But take some time to think of that question. Sit down, relax, Hassan. Go ahead. You said no. Because you said no without thinking. Go ahead. What's the default?
Because the default is that you do not shorten the salah. So therefore, they should not shorten the salah until they're sure that they have left the boundaries of the.
So certainty that this person is a resident. He's doubting that he is now a traveler. Okay? He should go with certainty because the default of the salah is to shorten or to complete? To complete. So therefore, he's going to go with what he's sure of, certain about, and the default. Okay? So he's not going to shorten the salah till he does what? Till he's certain of travel, because certainty would remove certainty. خلاص? طيب. Yes, but you're not certain about the distance. You're not certain that you have reached the distance of being a traveler. Mashi, if you're not certain you have left Davis yet or the area, because Davis is not Davis, it's Yellow County. So you're not certain, are you in the area outside of your place or inside of your place, and you have to pray. Then you're going to go with the default and what you're certain of, that you're still a resident. You're not a traveler. So you're out of the area of traveling. So go with what you're certain about. طيب, a person, okay, let me ask you, breastfeeding. Anyone know what's the hukm of what are the ruling of breastfeeding? Yani when does she become your mother, meaning you cannot marry her, she becomes a mahram, or your sister becomes, like, you're breastfed by breastfeeding, she becomes your sister, you cannot marry her, she becomes your mahram. Do you know the default ruling of it?
At least 6
ها؟ لا لا 6 3 ها؟ 1 time 2 times. Two conditions has to be fulfilled. 2 conditions. The numbers, you guys are missing numbers. So you said 5 full time till the baby is full. 5 full. 5 رضعات محرمات 5. Okay? مشبعات full. The baby is full. That's the first condition. Second condition. Second condition. Huh? La. She breastfed the kid. You know how in Egypt, for example, we have that all the time. We have women who are assigned in the villages. They're mashallah healthy. They have a lot of babies. If the mother is sick or she gives birth and she's feeling weak, they send the baby to this woman. She breastfeeds. So she almost breastfed everybody in the town. This is a big problem. We have people who are actually married and their brothers and sisters by breastfeeding. So we have to have a rule for them now. Should we divorce or not? Wallahi, it happens. I'm not joking. It happens to like family members that I know personally. They have 6 kids. And the woman, when she saw the kids and she saw the father and the father and the mother, she said, "Aren't you so and so?" And she said, "Aren't you the daughter of so and so?" She said, "I breastfed both of you guys for 2 months." So how many in 2 months she breastfed them more than 5 times? For sure. Khalas? But it has to be another condition. The condition is what? Huh? I'm giving you a sign, huh? Within the 2 years. Within the 2 years, في الحولين. After the 2 years, it doesn't count. خلاص? Within the 2 years. Is that clear? So 5. طيب. Now, what is the rule of breastfeeding? Anybody know what's the rule? You cannot marry the woman that she breastfed you because she's your mother now, considered. You cannot marry her daughters. Only you, not your brother, because he's not breastfed. So only you. You become their brothers. Like if she has daughters, you become their brothers, not your brother, for example, if he's not breastfed. So you cannot marry her. But you cannot inherit her either. Don't say, "Oh, I'm your son now, I'm going to inherit." No, it's only marriage. خلاص? والمحارم, محرم. خلاص? طيب. Now, the woman says, "I don't know if I breastfed him or her 5 times or 6 times or 7 times. I am not sure. What should we go about?" She's certain she fed him, but she's not certain how many times. So if she's more than 5 times, خلاص, no doubt, مش مهم. But she said, "I don't know if it's 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. I'm not sure." ها؟ أيوة، يبقى نرجع إلى الأصل. الشك لا يزول باليقين. What is the يقين here? That she is non-محرم. لا، اليقين أن هي غير أنها محرمة على اليقين هي she is non-محرم. She breastfed him. هذا هو الشك في كم فتظل كما هي. So can he marry her? Yes. Can he marry her daughter? Yes. Because we're going to keep the default, which is what? She's non-mahram, so she could marry them, and there's no issue with that. Okay? Is that clear now? طيب. يقينا شك. Entering of time to start the salah. We can't tell. We can't tell. So what should we do? Should we start the salah or should we wait till we're certain of the time? We should wait till we're certain, because what we're certain about is what? That the time didn't enter. And I'm يقين إنه لم يدخل الوقت. I doubt. I start doubting the entering of time. طيب. This one is a little complicated. Let's see. Bismillah. A person stepped on a dung or a urine of an animal. What should a person do? You don't know what the animal is. Default is najis? Bismillah. Huh? Default is that you're clean. But I'm talking about the what I stepped in now. I know this is a rawath, dung of an animal. Could be a cat, could be a dog, could be a sheep, could be a donkey, could be a camel, could be a goat, could be a cow, it could be a pig. So we need to understand the fiqh part to solve the problem. Explain it. So the dung of an animal that what? That we are allowed to eat? Okay, the dung of that animal is pure. And the urine of that animal is pure. You understand that part? كل ما كان مأكول اللحم. Anything that you are permissible to eat, the dung and the urine of it is pure. So the default of the rawath, the dung of an animal, that is pure. Unless it's proving otherwise. يبقى الأصل إن إحنا نمشي على الإيش؟ على الطهارة. الأصل على الطهارة. Okay, is that clear? طيب مثلا camel dung هو the scholars defines an animal or a living thing into two parts, the upper part and the lower part. Okay. Okay, is everybody still awake or you guys are out? Okay, طيب. The animal has a lower part from waist down, upper part. Okay? Upper part will be like what? Sweat, saliva, eye drops, tears, okay? Nose, mucus, and all of that, okay? How do we judge it? We judge it based upon the living thing itself. If it's pure, then all these things are pure. If the living thing is impure, then all these things are impure. A cat's sweat is pure. That's the upper part. Okay? Is that clear? You can't exactly, because we're judging the upper part, which is sweat, saliva, and all of that, based upon the living thing itself, being pure or impure. Okay? A donkey's saliva. Don't say you cannot eat the meat of a donkey. When we talk about the upper part, when we talk about saliva, that's in the upper part. So we have to look at that animal being pure or impure in itself. Forget whether you eat it or not. When you talk about the lower part of an animal, which is the dung and the urine and the blood and so on, you're talking about the meat now. You could eat it or not eat it. Why is it so hard? I thought it's the from waist down. Okay, let's talk about the upper part first. A saliva of a donkey is pure because the essence of this animal itself is pure. A saliva of a dog is pure. That's a different rule. For a reason, because of the hadith. Because of the hadith. طيب. Now, go down. The dung of a urine of an animal. It's judged based upon whether you could eat its meat or not. If you're allowed to eat its meat, then the dung and the urine of that animal is pure. So if it comes on your clothes, you just sprinkle water and it's pure. But if that animal, you cannot eat its meat, then the dung, مثلا, a cat's urine is impure because you cannot eat cat's meat. Cat's saliva is pure because that has to do with the essence of the cat. So lower part judged by whether you could eat the meat or not. The upper part that comes out of it, whether, except in a human being, the sperm. That's the only difference on that part. Yes? According to the majority, yes. According to the majority, it's impure. Impure. But for us, we'll talk about that in fiqh, inshallah. Yes. Okay. Before you answer the question, let's use this qaida. If you have different of opinion from one scholar, and you don't know which one came first, you have an opinion of a scholar that says halal, but then you have other opinion that says he changed his mind. Which one should you go with? None of you guys are using the qaida. What are you certain about? You're certain about of the first opinion. What you're doubting is what? He changed his mind. How could you leave certainty for doubt? We just said, أنا متأكد إن الإمام أحمد هذا هو قوله وشاك هل غير قوله بهذا القول أو لا؟ عندي شك. لكن أنا متأكد. I am certain of this opinion. I am doubting that he changed. Same thing with the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. I have one hadith. Somebody says, لا, هذا الحديث منسوخ. It's abrogated. Which one am I certain about? The hadith is there. The abrogation is what? Doubt. So he has to bring in evidence that the hadith was abrogated, then it becomes certain. So it's going to stay as uncertainty and doubt to me till I prove otherwise. Okay? طيب. Something that you guys use every day. Let's use something easier for you because I don't want to give you a hard one. I was going to give you a hard one, but the hard one is a brain damage, brain dead. If the doctor says this person's brain is dead, my mother, rahimahullah, she had the same issue at the end of her life where she went into a coma and the doctor says, Wednesday, a week before she died, he said her brain is not reacting no more. It's not giving any signal. They did this brainwave test and all of that, and they said it's not responding. So they call it brain dead. Brain dead means that the person is dead or not. Bismillah, what do you think? Let's use the default and try your best to use what we said. يعني هل نعتبر هذا الرجل ميت? Can we consider this person dead or not dead? أيوة. نقول اليقين أن الروح لم تخرج. The soul is not out. And death happens by the exit of the soul. خلاص كده? Is that clear? So this is the default. Because that person, when he has a brain death, you don't wash him, you don't pray janazah on him, you don't do the inheritance of that person. Why? Because you still believe that they're not dead yet, even their brain is dead. فنرجع للأصل. We go back to the default. الشك. What are we doubting? His death. What are we certain about? His life. We're certain that this person is life. We're doubting he died or not. So we're gonna go with the certainty, the default. أن الشك لا يزول اليقين لا يزول بالشك. Certainty is not removed by doubt. So we're gonna say, don't remove the equipments away from him. Yes. Again, he's still saying he's living. You tell him, keep the machine till the soul is out. Or move the machine and see if he's gonna live. But you don't consider him dead. See, this is why the ulama differ here, because they based it upon this fundamental. What is the fundamental today? Certainty is not removed by doubt. What am I certain of? He's alive. He has living. He has a life. You're doubting that he died. So you cannot move from the level of certainty to the level of doubt without a very clear certainty. Now,
you're certain that it's from an animal, but you're not certain, you're doubting which animal it comes from.
okay, so you're doubting that the urine is from an animal, but you're not sure which animal. So what's the default? That the urine of the animals are pure unless they are certain animals. So you're going to go with the default, certainty. But if you're in a farm and they only have dogs but sometimes you're in a farm that has goats, cows, and maybe dogs there, Okay? And dogs are running around. You go to that farm, you step somewhere where there's a dung. You have to pray. Like you go to Chuck's now, you go, he has a few dogs there. If the dogs urinate somewhere and the goats and cows are urinating in the same area, you don't know which one is which. What are you going to go with? Certainty. What is certainty here? That is pure animal, you eat its meat. But they has other animals there that are not pure, no problem. You go with the default till you prove otherwise. No.
So it's like so in a certain method, like an animal's okay to eat.
And animals the what?
So in a certain method, right? If
Uh-huh.
an animal's okay to eat, like it's not allowed to eat.
What could it be okay to eat or not okay to eat? They all agree upon it.
So for example, like horse in the Shahin method, right?
Uh-huh.
Or like if you're Maliki and like you walk in a dog and like the
But remember, dogs you cannot eat. No, it's haram. No, it's haram to eat. See, we're certain that dog's meat is haram. We're doubting the opinion of makruh. So we're going to go with the default. Al-yaqeen la yazulu bil-shak. Yes. Oh, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I actually had it here, subhanAllah. Meat for consumption. Okay. That's important. Pure. The most opinion is pure. لا 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 ها ها ايوه ايوه to the ones who believe it's pure that will be their opinion to the Shafi'iyya yes but majority no it's impure طيب let's give something to our sisters so they don't huh oh the consumption meat that's a different we're going to get to that one inshallah no طيب a woman she saw blood on her clothes what should she consider it menstruation or istihada or both bleeding huh she can't tell a woman saw blood on her clothes at a certain time. If it's during her menstruation, it's menstruation. But if it's not during her menstruation period, if it's like a week after her menstruation period, what is she going to consider it? Pure? What is the default when a woman bleeds? That it's menstruation or that it's sickness related? menstruation يبقى الأصل اليقين أنه حيض لا what if there's women who bleed in 1 month 3 times 3 menstruation in 1 month if she cannot tell if the blood is if she could tell that the blood is a blood of menstruation or non-menstruation, خلاص, it solves the problem. I'm talking about she cannot tell and she doesn't know if this is a dam istihada, happens after her period, like a week after her period or so. She doesn't know if this is a dam istihada, okay, or her post-bleeding, istihada or her period. What should she do? What is she certain of? What is the default of a person? That they are sick or that they're healthy? They're healthy. So she's going to consider that blood to be what? Menstruation. So it takes the same ruling. What do you mean that's not healthy? Your menstruation only happens when you're healthy. No, that's why we said it's not istihada. Istihada is a post-bleeding that happens to a woman because of a sickness or some reason that causes bleeding. So if she's healthy and she doesn't have any reason for bleeding, then the default is that she's certain that this blood will be the blood of menstruation unless proven otherwise. Now, Why? Who said the flow and the who said that? From a sheikh? Okay, then discuss it with him or her. Because a spotting of a ministration is considered ministration. When do you become pure of ministration? Okay, you guys are taking us to fiqh now. I don't want to go to fiqh. When do you consider pure from ministration? Huh? After it's done what? What do you mean after it's done? When there's no spotting of a blood in anyhow. So a spotting is what? Is ministration. The flow of the blood, that's the first day or so. Some women don't have that. They only have that for a day or two, and the rest of their 7 days, just little drops here and there. That's ministration. Even if one blood came out, if one drop of blood came out within her period of 7 days, that's ministration. Who said it has to be a flow? And even if it's out of the cycle, it could be a regular period. There is a woman who came to Ali ibn Abi Talib radiallahu anhu ardah when her husband died. I mean, when she got divorced, and she said to Ali ibn Abi Talib, how many periods should I wait? He said 3 periods. She said, I had all 3 in 1 month. I know it's not good. I'm not talking about health. You have to differentiate. When you have your menstruation, it means you're sick? No, it means you're healthy, and that's why your body is having menstruation. If you're sick, you have bleeding. So menstruation itself is a healthy thing for women that shows that she's healthy. Even though menstruation is not something healthy as for... You're mixing between two things. You're mixing between... why did I get into this? Okay, we'll leave that to a sister class. Let's talk about meat. 1 sec. حسبها 3 قروء خلاص. She could marry someone else after 1 month, even though the default is she has to wait 3 months because 3 periods. A normal woman who has a normal period will have 3 periods in 3 months. There are some women who have 2 periods in 1 month. It happens. Guys, don't even worry about that. But if you're married, you have to know these things. طيب. Let me finish the meat part. Okay, maybe not the... I don't know if you could... Okay, let me finish this part because it's important. The clothes and the pots or the containers that the disbelievers or the non-Muslims use, because we fall into that a lot. What is the default? أواني الكفار وثيابهم. What's the default? مش عارف انت الآراء ديت جايبها من مين. The default is نجاسة. كيف؟ الله يقول إنما المشركون نجس يعني عقيدة ولا يعني طيب let me discuss it with him fiqh wise. I like that. It means if you shake hand with a non-Muslim you have to make wudu. Then you cannot say it's najis. كيف تقول نجس تقول no. If you touch a cloth, okay, if you're married to a non-Muslim, okay, and you touch her clothes, you have to make wudu? Why not? You said yes. You said najis. Huh? You change your opinion now. Let's stay to the one opinion. The clothes and the containers of a non-Muslim are three things to look at. Number 1, this is very important. When you go into a restaurant, you have to look at that. Number 1, certainty that it's pure, the default. Or certainty that is impure, like they serve wine. The cup is pure or impure? Based upon what do you think of wine being pure or impure? That's a different story. لأنه هل الخمر نجس ولا طاهر؟ Who said najis? Who are you guys coming up with that? Who said you're saying al-khamr is najis? Al-khamr haram to drink. I'm talking about the khamr being najis, impure or pure. That's a different ruling from being haram to drink. Fiqh is very important. To drink, the element, al-khamr is grapes that turned into wine that toxate the mind. خلاص haram to drink, haram to sell. No problem. To sell, to drink, to give it, to gift it, to grow it. لكن is it pure or impure? That's completely different ruling. هل الخمر نجس ولا طاهر؟ ما له دخل في الخمر بين حرام. إنما الخمر ولا إيش؟ طيب الميسر هذا الماني gambling. The money that you gamble with, haram to touch? How come gambling is haram? أيوة, the action is haram. Drinking alcohol is haram. This is ijma', by the way. This is no opinion. Haram to drink wine. We agree. خلاص? The wine. A glass of wine sitting down right there. It dropped on your clothes. Oops, by mistake. Now, pure or impure? That's completely different ruling. Pure. الصحيح انه pure. الصحيح انه ها؟ كل مسكر حرام يعني to drink. لا هو الصحيح انه differentiate. Okay. I need you to differentiate between two things. The qaida here is talking about the action, or it's talking about the element. The qaida is talking about the action. So again, the default here is what? Let's go back to our qaida. We're not here to discuss khamr right now. That's a long discussion. Saying khamr is najis, one opinion, that's wrong. Saying khamr is tahir, 100% opinion, that's wrong. Khamr, there's two opinions in it. Yes, the majority says that khamr is what? Pure. That's not our discussion right now. I'm talking about the cups now, the food. Okay, طعام أهل الكتاب, the pots, clothes, containers. That you're certain it's pure. You have a roommate who's non-Muslim. When they eat or drink in a plate, the plate is pure or impure. The default is pure, unless you know that this person eats khanzir, مثلا, pork, for example. Okay, the pork is impure in itself, so therefore you have to clean it off before that. طيب, what if you're not sure of both? شككنا, we doubt. What should we do? Go back to today's qaida. Certainty is not removed by doubt. So therefore, the default says that their clothes and their pots, containers is pure. Imam Ahmad rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned the hadith. There's three hadith. Hadith Jabir radiallahu anhu arda. He said, we used to eat and drink from the containers of the non-Muslims gifted to us and to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam without washing them. And then there's another hadith that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Abi Tha'laba said, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said he commanded them to wash the plates before they eat in it. So now we have two ahadith. One says don't do it, one says do it. We have to understand this ahadith. We have to look for the one that says don't do it. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he ate, and when the women invited him for food, did he wash her plate? When she offered him meat to eat, she offered him meat on his clothes, or she put it in a plate? Did Rasulullah ﷺ tell her to wash the plate? And it doesn't make sense she offered him meat without a plate, or to drink water without a cup. Okay, doesn't make sense. And he ate and drank. Okay, and they used to gift him, the neighbors of Rasulullah, they used to gift him food for Christians, and Rasulullah would eat it. Now, they gift him food in plates or not? Here you go. So the hadith of Imam Ahmad explains. He said, Ya Rasulullah, إنهم يأكلون فيها الخنزير ويشربون فيها الخمر. هذا الحديث اللي أخذ منه الخمر. That they used to eat, they eat pigs in it, or khinzir. So he said, wash it before you use it. Okay? Now, if we're doubting, if we're not sure, we go to a restaurant, they give us food in a plate. and they're people of the book, Ahlul Kitab, what should we consider? The default. Al-yaqinu la yazulu bishakkin. You do not move certainty with a doubt. What are you certain about? That the plate is pure, that the cloth is, you have a roommate, you want to pray salah. Khalas? The default is that his clothes, you put on his clothes to pray or not? Yes, you can. If he allows you, of course. Now, if you feel, if you're those people who are so sensitive to wear somebody else's clothes, that's a different story. That's your problem. Seriously, but I'm talking about the rule here. Your clothes is in the washing machine. مثلا, you only have shorts on. Subhanallah, you thought that the clothes would be dry by Asr time. The dryer went off, got broken. You want to pray Asr. How are you going to pray with shorts? You borrow their clothes. He's a non-Muslim living with you. We live in a non-Muslim country. We need to understand this. Can I take his clothes and pray in it? The default says that their clothes is pure unless proving otherwise. Al-yaqinu la yazulu bishak. Certainty cannot be removed by doubt. So that the default is that this cloth is pure, that this cup is pure, that this spoon is pure, that the plate is pure, if they are from the people that you eat their food or their meat. واضح؟ تفضل. لا. Then you're not, this is not certainty. You're certain that it's impure. Khalas, then you wash it. I am saying you don't know if it's pure or impure now. لا, certainty, if he just washed his clothes. لو قال لك أنا غسلت الملابس. I just washed my clothes. هل لابد ان انا tell him you wash this specific cloth at this cloth today before? لا, انا غير مطالب بهذا الامر الا اذا وجدت شيئا يزيل الشك, يعني يؤكد الشك. طيب, let me give you the last one before we finish. Last one. Somebody, they woke up from their sleep and they find that their clothes was wet. Their pants are wet. What's the rule? Wet, not sweat. Wet. Yet wet. He doesn't know if it's impurity, if it's a wet dream. He doesn't remember, he doesn't recall that he had any dream or whatsoever. Now, what's the default? He doesn't know if it's a mani or madhi. What should he do? Huh? No, we're using the qaida today. We're not using anything other.
What is he finding out? Is he waking up?
Yes, he's waking up from a sleep.
He was pure before he slept.
Of course, he's pure before he slept. That's evidence of what? It could be sweat. You don't have people who sweat like that? Do we have people who sweat like that? Yeah, we have people who sweat. And the araq, the sweat follows what? Upper part or bottom part? Answer me first. Sweat, العرق يتبع الذات اللي هو الجسم الخارجي ولا العرق يتبع البارم؟ People usually sweat from where? Bottom or the top? Head, correct? So sweat follows الذات. الذات طاهرة. It doesn't follow the meat. Remember, bottom follows the meat, top follows the essence. Remember this. They're very, very important. So a sweat of the bottom would follow the top, not the bottom, even though it came from the bottom. So the rule will change. He could pray in the cloth. So what should we tell him? The default is pure. Correct. Al-aslu, al-tahara, the default, al-tahara, certainty, unless proven otherwise with evidence that it's impure. Because if it's a wet dream, it's still pure because the sperm is pure. It's a different story. We already said the bottom follows. This part is very complicated, so I'm not going to repeat it. No, because the people who are not here, they'll go home confused. What is the difference between bottom and top? Like, what is the Shaykh saying? So I'm not going to... You guys got it, right? The ones who are here all day, alhamdulillah. The top follows the essence. The bottom follows the meat. You don't know what that means? You need to come to the Tuesday class. I'm sorry. Now, last question before because we have to pray. Yes. Okay. default that you're certain it's halal to eat. Yes. You don't ask. You don't ask. If someone Muslim invited you, if some Muslim